Good evening and welcome to News Channel 8. I'm Jerome Aegean, and here's some of the top stories we have for you tonight. A tourist dies on St. Thomas, a dangerous police chase, and Bogle's entertainment report. These stories and more are up next on News Channel 8. In our top story tonight, a visitor on St. Thomas dies yesterday while he was on tour at Buck Island. News Channel 8's Lee Carl files this report.
The body of an elderly man who was in a small island outside the harbor here was brought to Haven site. We had first thought that he drowned at Haven site, but Chief Gerard fills us in on this tourist apparently that had a medical problem.
First of all, the body was not recovered in Haven site. I don't know. I think that was initially reported, but that was not the case. Apparently, a gentleman, elderly, was in one of the, those tours that tourists take, I think over in the area of Buck Island, and there was some kind of complication here. There was some kind of medical complication that he ended up with, where he was brought in by a vessel to the area of Haven site.
Oh, okay. I see.
That is what occurred. And then, of course, the EMTs responded, and they tried their best. I was there also, and they actually tried their best to keep the guy alive. And unfortunately, it appears that he passed. But that is the situation. The incident did not happen in the Haven site area. The person was brought in from the area of Buck Island to Haven site, and again, the EMTs tried their best, and unfortunately, it didn't work.
Yes, he was a tourist on a tour out there?
Yes, my understanding, he was a tourist on one of the cruise ships, and unfortunately, he passed.
In St. Thomas, Lee Carl for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Lee Carl. And in other news, yesterday we broke the story of an extradited murder suspect being returned to our territory. News Channel 8's Wes Small has this story and more.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jerome. I'd like to do a quick wrap-up of the week's crime activities because it was really a bloody one. We had our first homicide of the year, 20-year-old Akeem Lee. How sad a story is that? He comes home just to visit his family and friends during festival time. Shot dead underneath the Ark in Frederiksted by the food stamp office early Monday morning at around 2:45. Gold chain around his neck, a watch, and a cell phone. All of that stolen as he was just trying to wait for a ride from his grandmother. How sad a story is that? If you know anything about Akeem's tragic death, please do something about it. 22-year-old Shamilla James, remember that? And that was like the next morning. Him and his 20-year-old friend were visiting from Atlanta, Georgia, and they got involved in a deadly shootout at Chris's Hideaway. You're looking at that evidence right there as we look at that shattered that hole going through the bullet did to the front light there. If you know anything about that, please come forward. And his 20-year-old friend, by the way, looks like he's going to make it. He's in stable condition. And then we have the arrest, and this is good news, of Rodney Stanley. Still trying to secure his picture for the day. 24-year-old Rodney Stanley, he got stopped at a traffic light altercation up in Miami, Florida, was extradited after he was stopped at a traffic light up in Florida for some altercation. They ran his name, checkpoint. He was found dirty. 24-year-old Rodney Stanley. And that, they got him for the Catherine's Rest killing. So that is good news for that. So it has been like a tragic week, early, that is, because we had two killings, the first in the territory, both for St. Croix. But then it's good news because we have a homicide suspect brought back into justice. I want to apologize for my emotional outbreak earlier in the week about finding the guns and everything, but I guess got to tell you, this reporter is worn out. And it's a personal plea to all the dads out there to please come forward and check on your sons. You know, we're losing sons 20 years and above over and over almost on a daily basis. So dads, just like Cheryl Francis says, please stop the bleeding by stepping up to the plate. Maybe I'm feeling it today more than any other day because today marks 29 years ago that I lost the life of my dad, January 8th, 1981, while I was home on college vacation. So I'm kind of feeling it today. Please help me out by getting the weapons off the street so we stop losing generations of young black families. With that, have a great weekend. Please don't drink and drive. I love you very much. I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes Small. And yesterday, there was a daring police chase in the Moffley Hill area of St. Thomas. News Channel 8's Lee Carl reports.
A high-speed chase that started at Rappoon Hill came up this hill around Moffley as VIPD picked up a Bavoni resident, Joseph Roberts, 22, led to the high-speed chase. He was in a black Honda. Well, here's Police Chief Rodney Carrard filling us in with the details on the arrest.
On January 7, 2010, at approximately 1:30 p.m., a police corporal attempted to conduct a vehicle stop of a heavily tinted black Honda Accord at the bottom of Rappoon Hill. The operator of the vehicle failed to stop, and of course a chase ensued. The corporal called for assistance, and numerous officers from various agencies, including Waste Management, Lottery, Superior Court, Health, License and Consumer Affairs, and of course the Virgin Islands Police Department, responded to assist. The suspect drove up Rappoon Hill, onto Raima Highway, up Dono Bypass, onto Balama Hill Drive, and finally down Mart Proudfoot Drive, which is Moffley Hill, before getting involved in a 5-car accident involving 3 government vehicles and 2 civilian vehicles. Upon impact, the suspect jumped out of his vehicle and attempted to elude officers. In the process, he discarded illegal contraband drugs and a magazine for a firearm. He then discarded a firearm in the brush below the street before being placed under arrest. K-9 officers from the Special Operations Bureau responded and recovered the firearm in the area where the suspect threw it. It was revealed to be a .40 caliber handgun, fully loaded, which was reported stolen prior to today's date. The suspect, Joseph Roberts of Bavoni, 22 years of age, is charged with possession of a licensed firearm, possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute, 5 counts of reckless endangerment, possession of stolen property, driving without a driver's license, and reckless and negligent driving. Again, more charges are likely. Mr. Roberts will be detained at the Bureau of Corrections pending his advisor rights hearing tomorrow, January 8, 2010. I want to thank all officers involved in the apprehension of Mr. Roberts for their continued dedication and commitment to their agencies and departments and to the people of the Virgin Islands. It was a joint effort, Mr. Carl. Unfortunately, we had to shut down the Moffley Hill due to the 5-car pileup that occurred. But the good news is we got the suspect, we got a firearm off to the street, and that's one less firearm we as a community have to face.
Chief, I wanted to ask you, many times situations like this turn out that the person that was apprehended has a laundry list of situations that, in other words, the police know them from the court.
From past instances, yes. And in this situation, this individual does have a history. You know, unfortunately, some people don't learn, and in this case, here it is, he was arrested for a number of charges. Probably more charges will be added also. So, but the good news is nobody was hurt as far as I know. Even though 5 cars were involved in an auto accident, it could have turned out real nasty. Somebody could have gotten hurt. Maybe one of those safaris loaded with tourists. You never know how this could have turned out. But nobody was hurt, and we recovered the firearm, and the individual is under arrest. So that's always a good thing.
Thanks very much, Chief.
Rather interesting, the chief told us that it turned out that the weapon that was recovered from this man was a stolen weapon. And the police are concerned about that because a number of stolen weapons that are legally licensed apparently are being stolen and used in crimes. In St. Thomas, Lee Carl for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Lee Carl. Okay, here's one for you. Picture this. You and your spouse have a domestic dispute. You call 911. A police officer comes to your aid and tries to defuse the situation. So far, so good, right? How do you show your appreciation? When the officer's back is turned, you decide to reach inside the patrol car and steal his cell phone. Well, fortunately, the officer got his cell phone back, and Kellis Testamark was arrested for grand larceny and stolen property. We now want to thank Kellis Testamark. For you, sir, our News Channel 8's first dumb crook of 2010. Stay with us on Channel 8 News. We have more for you after the break.